The history of the Internet is a long and complex one, stretching back to the early days of computing in the 1960s. The origins of the Internet can be traced back to the 1960s, when the United States Department of Defense created the ARPANET Advanced Research Projects Agency Network. The ARPANET was a small network of computers that connected several research institutions, including the Massachusetts Institute of Technology (MIT), the University of California, Los Angeles (UCLA), and the Stanford Research Institute (SRI). The primary purpose of the ARPANET was to facilitate communication between the research institutions, allowing them to share data and collaborate on projects. The network used a technology called packet switching, which allowed data to be sent between different computer networks without the need for a dedicated communication line. By the early 1970s, the ARPANET had grown to include several dozen computers, and it had become clear that the network had the potential to revolutionize communication and computing. In 1972, the ARPANET was demonstrated to the public for the first time at the International Conference on Computer Communication in Washington, D.C. The development of TCP/IP. The next major development in the history of the Internet came in the late 1970s, with the creation of TCP/IP Transmission Control Protocol Internet Protocol. TCP/IP was developed by a team of researchers led by Windsurf and Robert Kahn, and it was designed to provide a more robust and flexible network architecture that could support the exchange of data between different types of computers and networks. TCP/IP became the standard protocol for Internet communication, and it paved the way for the development of the modern Internet. With TCP/IP, data could be transmitted across different types of networks, and the network could handle different types of data, including voice and video. The rise of the World Wide Web. In the 1980s and 1990s, the Internet began to expand beyond its academic and military roots, and it became accessible to a wider audience. One of the key developments during this time was the creation of the World Wide Web by Tim Berners-Lee. The World Wide Web was developed in the late 1980s as a way for scientists to share information more easily. Berners-Lee created a system of linked documents that could be accessed over the Internet, and he developed a language called HTML, Hypertext Markup Language, that allowed users to create and share web pages. The World Wide Web quickly became popular among academics and researchers, and by the mid-1990s, it had begun to gain traction with the general public. In 1993, the first popular web browser, Mosaic, was released, making it easier for non-technical users to access and navigate the web. The commercialization of the Internet. In the late 1990s, the Internet began to be commercialized, as companies began to see the potential for e-commerce and online advertising. This period saw the rise of companies such as Amazon, eBay, and Yahoo, as well as the creation of online advertising networks such as Google AdWords. The rise of e-commerce and online advertising led to a boom in Internet usage, as more and more people began to use the Internet for shopping, banking, and other transactions. By the early 2000s, the Internet had become a central part of many people's lives, and it was increasingly viewed as an essential tool for communication and commerce.